Now let's look at some examples of titles from highly cited papers. So what I did is I went into Google Scholar and I looked at the top journals in a few different scientific fields, and then I just grabbed some titles out of those top journals. And so these are some of those titles. So in the field of ecology, here's a title, it says Environmental Heterogeneity as a Universal Driver of Species Richness Across Taxa, Biomes, and Spatial Scales. So what type of title is that? That is a descriptive title. Another one is The Effects of Phenotypic Plasticity and Local Adaptation on Forecasts of Species Range Shifts Under Climate Change. Again, that is a descriptive title. Another one is How Context-Dependent Are Species Interactions? Question title, obviously. And then the final one here is Heavy Metal Pollution in Surface Water and Sediment, a Preliminary Assessment of an Urban River in a Developing Country. So that is a compound descriptive title. So 3 out of the 4 here are descriptive titles. That's not necessarily representative of the entire field of ecology. These are just 4 that I grabbed pretty much arbitrarily. Let's look at some titles from biochemistry. circRNA biogenesis competes with pre-mRNA splicing. What type of title is that? That is a declarative title, right? It's a complete sentence and it's telling a result. The next one, mixed lineage kinase domain-like protein MLKL causes necrotic membrane disruption upon phosphorylation by RIP3. Again, that is a declarative title or an indicative title. Full sentence with the result. Circular RNAs in the mammalian brain are highly abundant, conserved, and dynamically expressed. Again, that's a declarative title. So in my experience in biochemistry, most titles are declarative titles when you get into the higher ranked journals. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the best. That's just what's most frequent. How about microbiology? Let's look at a few titles there. The first one we're going to look at says Revealing the Bacterial Butyrate Synthesis Pathways by Analyzing Metagenomic Data. What kind of title is that? That is a descriptive title. Analysis of the upper respiratory tract microbiotas as the source of the lung and gastric microbiotas in healthy individuals. Another descriptive title. And finally, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus Infection in Dromedary Camels in Saudi Arabia. Again, another descriptive title. So I think what you can do there is just look through various titles in papers that are similar to the paper you are writing and see how they do it, see what they use, and which ones you feel like are the most effective. Now, in addition to titles, you might need to supply the journal with some keywords. Keywords are used by the journals for indexing. They might also be used by the journals to help select reviewers. But they're also used by search engines. So some of the journals, as I mentioned, are going to require you to submit a list of keywords. Some journals don't require it. If you are going to submit some keywords, make sure you select important terms. And in addition to selecting important terms, try to use keywords that are not in the title. And so that's going to provide more terms for indexing and search engines to pick up on. Also, when you're choosing your keywords, choose specific terms that are going to distinguish your work from similar papers and that are going to draw in the desired audience, just like you did when writing the title. What are some common problems of the title? Let's look at this list. One common problem is the title is too general. In other words, it's not going to distinguish what's different about your study from a similar study that was published a year or two prior. And if a title is too general, readers are not going to have an idea of what the paper is about, and they're less likely to continue reading the paper. Another common problem is that the title is too long. Now, we already talked about shorter titles are cited more frequently, so that's one reason to write a shorter title instead of a long one. Another reason is that some journals have a character limit, and you just simply cannot have a long title because the paper will not be accepted into the submission portal if the title is too long. Another common problem that I see sometimes is that the title is just too comprehensive. It gives away the entire story. You don't need to read the paper because the title includes everything. Yeah, I've seen papers where I thought, why would I even read that? Because the title tells me everything I need to know. And also, don't write a clickbait title, something that's going to overpromise what the paper delivers. You might be tempted to write a really exciting, really hyped title because you think it's going to get more readers, which may be true, but then if the readers come and they're disappointed by what's actually in the paper, if the paper doesn't live up to what the title is promising, they're not very likely to recommend that paper to their colleagues or talk about it in journal club or cite it later. So don't overpromise in your titles.